Forget what the movies told you about the gun that won the West. 2 rifles fought for that title, and only one of them earned it. The Henry came first. The Winchester 1873 came better. Today, we are breaking down 10 rounds that decided which lever-action rifle truly conquered the American frontier. So let us step back to where it all started and see how these 2 legendary firearms stack up in the battle for the West. Number 10. The origins. Before either rifle existed, inventors in the 1840s were experimenting with repeating firearms. Walter Hunt and Lewis Jennings tried using rocket ball ammunition, which were hollow-based bullets containing powder inside. These early designs evolved into the volcanic repeating pistol and rifle, but the weak ammunition kept them from catching on. Oliver Winchester, a shirt manufacturer from New England, invested heavily in the volcanic company. When it failed, he reorganized it and hired a plant superintendent named Benjamin Tyler Henry. Henry developed a new .44 caliber rim-fire metallic cartridge and paired it with an improved lever action system. He patented it in 1860, and the Henry rifle was born. The Winchester 1873 would come 13 years later, building directly on everything the Henry taught its makers. Number 9. The men behind the machines. Benjamin Tyler Henry was a skilled gunsmith who understood what shooters needed. His design gave soldiers the ability to fire 15 rounds without reloading during the Civil War. That was unheard of at the time. Oliver Winchester was a businessman who saw the future of firearms. After the war ended, he reorganized his company into the Winchester Repeating Arms Company in 1866. The first product was the Model 1866, an improved Henry with a side-loading gate. But Winchester knew they could do better. By 1873, his engineers had strengthened the action with an iron frame and designed a new center-fire cartridge. The result was the Model 1873, and it would outsell the Henry by more than 50 to 1. Number 8. The frame material. The Henry rifle used a brass frame. Brass was lighter and easier to work with, but it was also softer and prone to denting. If a soldier dropped his Henry on rocks or took a hard fall from his horse, that brass could bend or crack. The Winchester 1873 used an iron frame, and later models switched to steel. This made the rifle tougher and allowed it to handle stronger ammunition without risk of failure. For a cowboy riding hundreds of miles through rough country, that extra durability meant everything. A dented frame could mean a jammed action, and a jammed action on the frontier could mean death. Number 7. The cartridge. Here is where the 1873 pulled ahead by a mile. The Henry fired the .44 Henry rimfire, which pushed a 216-grain bullet at around 1,200 feet per second, using 25 to 28 grains of black powder. Rimfire cartridges had the primer built into the rim of the case, which made them harder to reload and less reliable in extreme conditions. The Winchester 1873 fired the .44-40 Winchester center fire cartridge. This round used 40 grains of black powder behind a 200-grain bullet, delivering velocities between 1,300 and 1,400 feet per second. Centerfire cartridges had the primer in the center of the case base, making them easier to reload and more consistent in ignition. The .44-40 also worked in revolvers made by Colt and Remington, so a cowboy could carry one type of ammunition for both his rifle and his pistol. That was a game-changer on long cattle drives. Number 6. The loading mechanism. Loading the Henry rifle was slow and awkward. You had to twist the magazine follower at the muzzle end and insert cartridges one by one through an open slot that ran along the bottom of the magazine tube. Under fire, this took precious time. Worse, that open slot let dirt, sand, and debris into the magazine, causing jams when you needed the rifle most. The Winchester 1873 solved this problem with a side-loading gate patented by Nelson King back in 1866. You could push cartridges through the gate on the right side of the receiver while keeping the magazine sealed from the elements. A sliding dust cover on top of the receiver added extra protection. You could even top off your magazine while keeping the rifle shouldered and ready. In a firefight, those seconds saved lives. Number 5. Durability and reliability. The American West was hard on equipment. Dust storms, river crossings, freezing winters, and baking summers destroyed anything that could not handle abuse. The Henry rifle's open magazine slot was its greatest weakness. Sand and grit worked their way inside and fouled the action. The brass frame showed wear quickly under rough handling. The Winchester 1873 was built for these conditions. The sealed magazine, dust cover, and iron frame meant it could take punishment that would have killed a Henry. Texas Rangers carried them through desert campaigns. Cowboys rode with them for years without major repairs. The 1873 earned a reputation as a rifle you could trust with your life. And on the frontier, that reputation spread fast. If you are learning something new about these legendary rifles, hit that like button and subscribe so you do not miss the next deep dive into real Western history. Number 4. Power and range. The point, .44. Henry rimfire was effective out to about 100 to 150 yards in practical shooting conditions. Beyond that, the bullet dropped fast and lost energy quickly. For Civil War skirmishes and close-range defense, it worked fine. The 44-40 centerfire in the Winchester 1873 extended that practical range to 150 to 200 yards. The hotter load hit harder and flew flatter, making it better for hunting larger game like deer or defending against threats at longer distances. When you needed to drop a target across a valley or put down a wounded buffalo, the 1873 gave you the reach and the punch to get it done. Number 3. Rate of fire and capacity. Both rifles could hold 15 rounds in their full-length magazine tubes, plus one in the chamber for 16 total. In skilled hands, either rifle could empty that magazine in under a minute. The difference came in how fast you could reload. The Henry required you to stop shooting, expose the magazine, and feed rounds in one at a time through the muzzle end. The 1873 let you feed rounds through the side gate without ever taking the rifle off target. During a sustained fight, the 1873 shooter could keep his magazine topped off, while the Henry shooter had to choose between reloading and staying in the fight. Number 2. Production numbers and real-world use. The Henry rifle was produced from 1860 to 1866. In those 6 years, New Haven Arms made about 14,000 rifles. Most were purchased privately by Union soldiers during the Civil War, since the U.S. Ordnance Department only bought around 1,731 directly. After the war, many of these rifles headed west with veterans or were traded to Native American tribes. The Winchester 1873 was produced from 1873 to 1923. In those 50 years, Winchester made over 720,000 rifles. Cowboys, lawmen, settlers, outlaws, and native warriors all carried them. At the Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876, forensic evidence shows that Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho warriors used at least 8 Model 1870s threes against Custer's 7th Cavalry. Buffalo Bill Cody used one while scouting. Apache warriors carried them in the Southwest. The 1873 was everywhere the frontier was being contested. Number 1. The verdict. The Henry rifle proved the concept. It showed the world that a lever action repeater could change everything about how men fought and hunted. Confederate soldiers called it that Yankee rifle they load on Sunday and shoot all week. But the Henry had too many flaws for widespread adoption. The open magazine jammed with dirt. The brass frame could not handle stronger loads. The rimfire cartridge could not be easily reloaded. The Winchester 1873 took everything the Henry taught and made it better. The sealed magazine, iron frame, and centerfire cartridge created a rifle that was tougher, more powerful, and more practical for real frontier life. With over 720,000 rifles produced, compared to the Henry's 14,000, the 1873 armed an entire generation. It earned the title of the gun that won the West through sheer numbers, proven reliability, and perfect timing. The Henry started the revolution. The Winchester 1873 finished it. Both rifles deserve respect for their place in American history. But in the battle for the West, there was only one winner, and it carried the Winchester name. If you want more real history like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. The next chapter of the frontier is coming soon.